Dear partners, team of Visionize event. Some people ask me, why are we doing this? And there is a simple reason. First, we want to bring people together. Second, we would like to share our thoughts with you. But as well, we would like to hear and learn from you. We want your expertise to take a glimpse into, hopefully, a joint future. And in addition, we tonight are going to kick off our external new brand positioning, and we are going to show you our focus topics for the next years to come. And upstairs we have 13 working stations, and after this keynote we will invite you to get to these 13 stations. There will be plenty of time to meet and discuss. Reise, back there. Hey, come on, give him a hand. And tonight our complete management team is here. I promise you that you will find out new things about SCHOTT. It's going to be about customers, it's going to be about partners, and about people. And speaking about people, I would like you to get to know Ono from San Francisco.
All of a sudden, the life that you thought you were going to have is going to probably be significantly different. I might go deaf and blind at some point. Oh my God, like somebody is just gonna turn off the light. I got diagnosed with a rare condition 2.5 years ago. It creates tumors in the central nervous system. And they can knock out certain senses, like hearing can affect your balance, and the tumors in the spine can cause paralysis over time. We decided to sequence my DNA, the DNA of my tumor in my blood. Right now we organized a hackathon.
My idea is to get to a biomarker discovery for NF2. I actually come from a lab that have been working on NF-PROM for at least 10 years now.
The data is about 1 terabyte, so I need 2 laptops to fit it in. So people are working remotely in the cloud.
We can imagine in the near future that, one could biopsy a tumor, for example, get the genome report, and based on that, identify a drug or a therapy that could help.
We've done it. We did it. We did do it. Now it's just presenting it.
All right, people, that's it. Make your commits, pack up your stuff, go to the auditorium. Come on up. Perfect timing.
Didn't notes could potentially represent biological features such as microRNA or transcription factors.
I love the work that's going on with natural learning and language, to be able to parse through thousands of articles and be able to pull targets. So doing something similar and then plugging into DeepKim would be great.
So we were able to identify 236 ultra-rare SNPs in Ono's genome.
It was very interesting to us because Ono's tumor is a total outlier over here.
A lot of the presentations were way better than I thought they would be, which was kind of incredible to me. I mean, I think in the last, really a lot of this stuff just came together in the last couple hours.
The whole thing is, let's see if we can find something that is already there and kind of repurpose for the disease.
We have an amazing community, and yeah, I'm really proud of all the people that are here and doing that work.
I'm Ono, I have NF2, and I'm one of the 7,000.
My name is Nasha, this is Amara, and we are one of the 7,000.
And we are one of the 7,000.
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 I'm one of the 7,000.
We are one of the 7,000.
I'm one of the 7,000.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Onno Faber. We had 300 people coming together to find a solution for it. Now, ever since I grew up as a kid, I always loved problems. To many people, problems may feel daunting or blocking, but for me, problems were always opportunities to build something new. So I needed them and go after something. And the tool maker. And we are, as human beings, meant, I think, to solve problems and build tools. As you can see, this is our family shield, and there's a cement shovel in one of the quadrants, symbolizing that idea. I was in high school in the 90s, and I got really interested in the internet and building software. So very quickly, I learned that software is another method, another way to solve problems and build something. And it didn't take long, or I started my own business when I was 16 in high school, like solving by building software. For some reason, I didn't think I would stay in technology, and I decided to study architecture and design. And I really enjoyed my studies, but after 5 years, when I reached my graduation year, I got frustrated that I couldn't work. I took that problem and decided to start a new graduation system called the Explore Lab, where students could start with the thing that they are passionate about. And today, the lab still exists and delivered over 300 projects. And these projects are often very positive impact projects in the world and the starting point for people's career. Now, after my graduation, I kept building things, building companies, building products. And one of the companies I started was trying to solve the problem of disconnection. So mobile phones were coming, there were more and more ways to stay in touch, but I didn't feel that people had the option to be vulnerable and connect to the people they cared about most. So this led to a product called TapTalk, which you see here. It's an app for sending short video messages. This was about 6 years ago. And with this product, at some point, it got picked up in Silicon Valley, an actor in Los Angeles, and he told me he wanted to invest. So I raised funding and moved the company over to San Francisco. For me, this was a childhood dream coming true because I feel Silicon Valley is a really good place to solve big problems and get an opportunity to do that. I was really having the time of my life. This was about 5 years ago. But in that same year, another problem hit me. I slowly started losing my hearing on the left. And at some point one day, I walked in the doctor's office and I saw this picture on his monitor. And it's my brain with a tumor inside. So it was clear that I was losing my hearing because of this tumor. The problem was about to get worse because they found another tumor on my second hearing nerve and one in my spinal cord. And they diagnosed me with a rare genetic condition called NF2. And people with NF2 are at risk of losing their hearing, losing their eyesight, and their mobility. And that's a very scary thing to hear. The brainstem, and we had to remove it in order to prevent worse things from happening. Also, the surgery, like I can tell you from experience, that it's a very vulnerable time where you just recover for a couple of months, and even just being able to walk around, the thought that you could walk around and grab a coffee or something, that was like the whole world. So all these experiences made me feel and realize how vulnerable life is. And I wanted to use my time, my experience as an entrepreneur, to try to solve the problem of rare disease and at least do my part in it. And I started writing online about these ideas and asking for support from the community that I knew. Now, NF2 is a rare disease, and only 1 in 40,000 people have it. And when you realize that you're just in the minority, you feel pretty isolated, and you think, of course, there is no solution for this problem. This is just like me that has it. But it turns out, and I quickly learned, that it was actually part of a much bigger problem. There are 7,000 rare diseases, and 1 in 10 people have one. Half of these people are kids, and most of them are genetic. So putting this problem into context really helped me to see the bigger picture. And to illustrate this further, there are 7,000 dots on the screen. Every dot is a rare disease, and the blue dots are the ones that have a treatment. So 95% of rare diseases don't have a treatment yet. So we're talking about a really big problem. As I was learning about rare disease and what I could do, I had phone calls with hundreds of people, like people in your industry, pharma world, but also doctors and patients and people that were in academic research. And I started realizing that if these problems are going to be solved, it's because people decide to work on them. It's really people that are like able to do that. It's a very important realization because if you're not part of the medical industry, somehow everything seems very magical and abstract. But kind of getting into it, getting your foot in the door, makes you realize that it's really people that do it. We have a lot of new technologies coming up, as you know, like there are gene therapies, immunotherapies, stuff that wasn't possible a few decades ago. But having the technology doesn't mean that necessarily these technologies get converted into solutions that are available to people. And as a patient, you just want a solution that's available to you in your hands. So I think, and it's my message for you today, that I think we have an opportunity to solve many of these diseases, maybe most, in the next couple of decades. We have the technology for it. And if we have the people and the drive and the motivation, I believe we can do this. One of the first things I had to do as a new patient is find a doctor, find a specialist that knew about my condition. And it seems like a trivial problem right now, but back then, that was all that mattered. And I happened to find this man. He lives in LA, and I consider him a close friend now, but he is also the one that drilled a hole in my head to remove the tumor. One morning, he was very open and very easy to approach for me. One morning, I had a phone call with him, and I shared a dream I had about a surgical tool that I thought could be used to remove my tumor more easily. And I was at first shy to share this with him because he is a surgeon that's been doing it for 40 years, and who was I to share an idea with this man? But he reacted very positively, and he was like, the founder of his clinic came up with a tool like that a few decades ago, and they had used it for a while. So experiences like this made me realize like there are no stupid ideas, and no one should be shy to share these ideas, because people that have been doing the same work over and over might also get in a certain pattern, and maybe new ideas come from unexpected sources. So I always try to just use my curiosity as my guide, and I've always done that, solving any problem or starting any company. I think this is also what people can do. Another thing I was really curious about is what can we do with the tumor sample that was removed during the surgery? And on the screen here in the photo, you see a friend of mine, Mo, and he's standing next to his own sequencing machine. He's actually having this machine standing in his living room next to the kitchen. And we decided, what if we can sequence my data and try to find modifier genes that indicate a drug that would be on the market for something else, could be used off-label. So we started doing that. We sequenced the tumor, we got the data, and we found a potential modifier. And I've used that drug for almost 2 years, and it helped me to stabilize the tumor, at least for a while, so you buy yourself time. But what else could I do with this data? Like, once you have this data sequenced, I knew there were a lot of people in Silicon Valley that were smart and savvy and didn't have access to this information. And Silicon Valley is full of computer engineers, but also people from the pharma and medical industry there. So we organized a weekend, which you saw a glimpse of in the video in the beginning, It was sponsored by Google, and we had 300 people coming from all over the country to work on this data and try to find new ways to look at it and find new information. The thing that's most important at a weekend like this is that you bring people together from different disciplines, people that usually don't get a chance to talk to each other or be creative. And it's amazing what you see coming up. The lead scientists were there too, and they honestly couldn't believe what they were seeing. And we are actually organizing more of these right now. I always felt like if my disease is ever going to get solved, we need more people to work on it. I wasn't going to do this in the weekends with my friends. So for me, the mission was really make it easier for other people to work on my disease or other diseases like this, and then we can have an acceleration. So one idea came from the fact that I had my genetic data on a hard drive, and that gave me the power to share it with all these 300 people. But quickly I learned that most data was actually locked up in research institutes or hospitals. Patients, though, they have the key to access that information. They have the right to it. So what if we could use that fact that patients can access it to build a new infrastructure to collect this data on scale? So this was the idea for another company I started 2 years ago. And this platform allows patients to directly contribute their own data. And we collect it, we aggregate it, we structure it, and it can be shared with different pharma companies and different academic institutes. So the data, because it's owned by patients, collected by patients, it can be reused, but it can also evolve as we move along. A few years ago, I was talking to someone from Disney, and he told me a story like how we used to love the single hero narrative. Like when the movie Superman came out, for example. Superman is this single entity that saves the world all on himself, by himself, like over and over again. And frankly, this is not realistic, but I also think that kind of narrative is in the way of collaboration, because it's not real. Like we do things together as a whole species. So moving to a multi-narrative, something that happens in movies, I think is also what we need to do in our minds. Like, for example, the Avengers movie. Avengers are a group of people. There is not a single hero. It's everybody together. And part of this is maybe rooted in the culture I grew up in as well. I'm from the Netherlands, as I mentioned. And in the Netherlands, we are fighting the ocean, which is a pretty big problem as well. And 60% of our country is actually under the sea level. So in order to do this, we have been collaborating for hundreds of years. And it's really hard to pinpoint who did it. But we had a culture of collaborating and discussing this at scale, building infrastructures of dikes and pumps to get the water out. We still do it. And it's even part of our political system today. So in order to create a treatment or a therapy that is successful, we have to go through this loop a lot, over and over again. Right? We have to do something, try it, we have to learn from it, and we have to share our learnings, fail over and over again. But what if we can get better in collaborating and sharing what we are working on, sharing our failures, and sharing what we learn to the rest of the community, and then maybe we increase our chances to all succeed. Some people in this photo are fellow NF2 patients, and every time I meet them, I see people with hundreds of tumors all over their central nervous system and brain, losing their facial function, losing their hearing, losing motor functions in their legs. And these are kids, and every time I meet them, it really touches me. It reminds me why I do this work and why this really matters. And I realize that even if I'm working on a particular solution, it may or may not work, but I'm always in service of the real problem itself and never of the solution I am working on at that moment. Right now, I'm spending a few months in a research lab in LA at UCLA. And the lab is working on NF2, and I'm trying to help them with machine learning to increase the preclinical modeling and increase the speed in which we can test new therapies. I'm also working on a new incubator, and I'm trying to create better infrastructure, for example, for building communities, for using data in the lab, better machine learning, drug discovery, and collaboration models to get these rare diseases funded and bring the therapies to clinic. But I'm also trying to live my life as best as I can. And in the light of losing my hearing, I decided I always wanted to sing. And I took singing lessons and really enjoy it. I love it. And I wish I could communicate the vulnerability of life to an earlier version of myself. Maybe I would have done it sooner. If there is something you want to do in life, like, don't wait, like, now is a good time. Because one day, we'll all be patients. And if it's not you, it might be someone close to you. But I believe with enough people and enough drive, we can turn these problems into solutions and make them real and available. And what if we can someday live in a world without suffering from medical illness, not leaving a single person behind? Thank you.
Ono, although you told us this about the multi-hero approach, for tonight you are my hero. I tried to, after such a speech, to say something meaningful, and that was a difficult task. But then I started, after your hackathon, to read a couple of the tweets. And actually, one of the tweets said, Ono is a hacker of his own disease. And then I thought, what can I say more? And then I said, I can only ask you to hack the heck out of the medical and research community to find the key for your disease. And I cannot thank you enough to share this incredible, personal and inspiring insight into your journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, that was the hard part of my speech. Ono describes himself as a possibility thinker. His story, but more his thoughts on how to reach better results in healthcare, brought us together. We like to think of this event as the start of a journey with you, our customers, partners, and as well with patients. In all what we develop, manufacture, deliver, and sell, we have our product's users in mind. No matter if it's an operator at the fill and finish line who requires vials with an optimized strength, no matter whether it's a drug delivery device engineer who wants to co-create a polymer container around his device, and no matter if it's a patient who self-administers his medicine with a pre-filled glass syringe. User centricity is always the starting point of our journey. We realize that there is incredible value in finding co-thinkers to create better results to the benefit of all users. Sharing knowledge, discussing ideas from different perspectives, and bringing in different strengths is key in our industry. We believe that collaboration across the industry will favor all of us and will drive us forward even faster. Let me give you 2 examples of collaboration. And now I have to try to do this right. And you should see something. Yes! Cyric BioPure. I can explore a product. turn this around. By the way, you can try that later upstairs. And then I configure, and for instance, I look at the plunger. The West Nova Pure. And talking about West, we have today announced a collaboration with West to combine the SCHOTT IQ platform with the West ReadyPack system, so that companies, smaller companies, startup companies, can buy smaller volumes and get started on primary packaging. And I have another example. I hope this works. Yes, silicon-free BioPure. I can do this. I can do this. The Gore IM project, another collaboration. SCHOTT teamed up with Gore to develop a Syric BioPure silicon-free syringe. And what you see is the plunger who enables that syringe to not to use silicone. And I don't know if you heard that, yesterday we won the Pharma Award, the CPHI Pharma Award for this product. Another example of successful collaboration. After launching a product successfully, we strive to make even the smartest products even a little bit smarter. Smart containers to track and trace solution along the entire value chain to avoid mix-ups in production. Smart data, giving you access to our data collected along the value chain, from tubing to container. Or zero defect, giving you the trust and security of unmatched quality beyond compliance. Or, another example of collaboration, smart production using SmartSkin. SmartSkin is our partner from Canada who checks with you your production line for possible stress points. Let's bring some smartness to our products and services that makes the life of doctors, nurses, and patients easier and safer. And last but not least, even tonight, we will not be satisfied what we have reached so far. It needs vision, creative ideas, and courage. Being a pioneer in primary packaging containers also creates the obligation to explore and invest into the future of our business. So what does the primary packaging container of the future look like? What are the packaging requirements, for example, for cell and gene therapy? If you know, you tell me later, please. For sure, we are hungry to start exploring and to discover new areas. Together with you and with the support of you, we will drive this industry. We promise you that we design solutions to ensure that medicine is safe and easy to access for people around the world. All 4,500 employees from SCHOTT Pharmaceutical Systems promise that to you. And we do this for a very simple reason, because human health matters. And before we will show a short movie about our new brand positioning, I invite you to get together, eat, drink, go upstairs and challenge our ideas, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you very much.
Everything we do is about you. The passionate, the adventurer, the best friend, the curious, the optimist, the worrier, the fearless, the fighter, the class clown, the pioneer, the kind soul, the lifesaver. In our ambitious and passionate work to find new and better packaging solutions, we have all of you in mind. Your individual lifestyles, your specific needs, your personal health care. Together with pharmacists and medical researchers, we're helping to make treatments better, safer, and easier, improving everybody's health all around the world. Because we've realized that this is what we're best at and what we're here for. There are more than 7 billion reasons. Every single one of them counts. Our purpose is you, your well-being, your life, because human health matters.
So are you